I'm going to pitch my Tony Hawk movie. Basically, it's nighttime at Tony Hawk's house, and we see him on the half pipe trying to pull off a 900 just to prove he still has what it takes. And his wife comes out, and it won't be played by his actual wife. We'll get a lesser-known actress, so people who see the movie will wonder who it is, and will look it up afterwards to see if it actually is his wife. And she'll be asking him to come inside because she's concerned, but he's still going for it. And Tony Hawk goes for another 900, and he's just about to make it, but he loses control of the board, and the board goes flying up into the sky. And unfortunately, it hits a UFO. And that UFO comes crashing down to Earth, and out of the escape hatch falls one of the aliens. Tony Hawk sees the alien falling, and he grabs another board. He jumps off of a half pipe and grinds across the gutters of his house and catches the alien. The alien has fallen unconscious, and instead of doing the sensible thing of telling his family about the alien, Tony decides to hide it in an RV next to his half pipe. The next morning, Tony Hawk wakes up, and he feels like the whole thing was a strange dream, and he comes downstairs to see that, all of his kitchen utensils are moving around, and, eggs are being cooked along with bacon, and he's like, what's going on? And he sees the alien is there doing this for him, and the alien is like, oh, Tony Hawk, thank you so much. My name is Roswell. You saved me, and I was so impressed, so I'm indebted to you. Unfortunately, I can't go home because my UFO has crashed, and I need the beacon to go off to know where it is. But once they fix it, that's where I'll go. So Tony's, he's a little uneasy about this whole thing, but he figures the alien means well, and it is sort of his fault with the whole skateboard situation. So he kind of hides it from the family. We get into antics where, the family comes home, and he's hiding it in the cupboard and everything. But eventually they're home alone, and he teaches the alien how to skate and everything, and the alien is like, oh, why don't I just allow the board to hover? Then you can do as many tricks as you like. And Tony would have to explain that, you can't just make things hover, you gotta do things for real. If you don't do it for real, you're not achieving anything. And he teaches him about being truthful to himself, and also that, in times of fear, we have to stay true to ourselves to be strong. And Roswell resonates with this, and soon the family comes home and they find out about the alien, and they're apprehensive at first, but then they realize Tony's doing the right thing, and he's trying to help this little guy. But unfortunately, because Tony's been working with Roswell this whole time, he completely forgot about his practice for the X Games, and Bob Burnquist has this sad story where he got really sick and he needs to get a colonoscopy. So he's not going to be able to be in the X Games. So Tony's going to have to go by himself, and he's at the competition. He's sweating. He doesn't know how this is going to go down. But then all of a sudden, this character comes up to him with a skateboard, with a gaudy blonde wig and a long sundress and fake balloon boobs and a sun hat. And, of course, it's Roswell in disguise. And Roswell's like, Tony Hawk, you helped me, and now I will help you. And Tony's, kind of nervous. He doesn't think it's going to go well, but he doesn't really have much of a choice. So, they're skating through the competition. They get through the first heat pretty well. They get through the second heat pretty well. But then during the intermission when they're doing an interview, Roswell gets his dress caught on a loose nail on the half pipe, and it rips off the dress. And then everyone sees it's an alien, and they're all freaking out. And Ben Middleton, who was watching the UFO since it crashed, he's really concerned about this whole thing, because he's like, that's the alien I've been chasing. But Tony Hawk is trying to defend Roswell and making sure that people don't hurt him. And of course he has to say, I read the bylaws and I know that there's no rule that an alien can't skate. And of course the opposition would not be okay with this. They would be upset because they don't want to lose. But the referee would be, he's right. In the rule book there's no rule that says an alien can't skate. The alien's allowed to skate. And they go through the final heat, and of course they win. And in their moment of triumph, right when it seems like everything's going well, Ben Middleton and the government comes back, and they're gonna abduct the alien. So Tony Hawk and Roswell are on the run in San Francisco. They're skating down the streets, avoiding the police, in a climactic chase with helicopters, police cars, and everything. And they go up the Golden Gate Bridge, and then they have to grind down it, and at one point it looks like they're gonna fall off, and Tony says, Roswell, you know how I told you not to make skateboards float? And Roswell replies, he goes, yes, of course I remember. I will do whatever you need to make things more thrilling and more realistic and worth the challenge. And Tony says, no, that's not it. You have to make it float. And right when he says that, they jump over this huge cliff, and Roswell makes the skateboard float, and they make it to safety, and they get back to the UFO just as the beacon goes off. And Tony, has to give a heartfelt goodbye. And Roswell would say to the other aliens in his alien language, he'd be like, beep, boop, beep, boop, Tony Hawk, skateboarding. And, the other aliens would be understanding about what happened, and they would be touched by Tony's kindness, and Roswell would say, "I come from the planet of Zed, but we will now rename the planet Shred." And so he would leave, and Tony would, have some tears in his eyes, and he would go back home and sleep. And then the next morning, he would go out to his half pipe, and what does he find? But he finds a hoverboard left there by Roswell, and of course he's overjoyed. He looks at it, he flips it over, and on the little hover nozzles on the bottom comes a little hologram of Roswell, and it says, "In times of fear, we must be true to ourselves." Tony Hawk is touched, and he hops on the hoverboard, and it does like a, and he reverts into the ramp, and as he comes out the other side, he pulls off a perfect 900, and we pan up into the sky to show on the planet Shred, Roswell also is performing a 900, and that their friendship has crossed the cosmos, and that they have had an influence on each other, and the movie closes, and that's that. I don't have a title yet, but we'll probably call it something like Tony Hawk Extra Shred Restrial or something. I don't know, we'll work it out, but we got a bona fide hit on our hands, so let's get this ball rolling.